Hi, this is Hebe, and this time I'm going to talk about, this will be a tutorial that I think will work well if you're new to scrapping, to digital scrapping, because we're going to talk about how to make a title for your layout that is also has an advantage of still having editable text on it. So if you want to go back and change what the word is, what it says, you can go back and edit that if you've got a typo or just change your mind on what you want to say. So because this is sort of a basic idea here, I'm going to go through the steps as if we're just, that if you're new to scrapping here, that you're just learning. So we'll start it out as with the simple steps here of start at the beginning. Of course, using too many words to say what I want to say here. So we've got a piece of paper here already open, a digital scrapbooking paper. This is from my Bug World kit over at Digitals. And I'm going to grab another paper from that same kit here. I'm going to file and open. And you forget the fact that it doesn't say Bugs World here. This was my working folder here back. And I'm going down to the papers here. And I think I will choose a, let's see. I'll choose this wacky spots here and open that up. Get something that really contrasts here. Whoa, it seems hard on my eyes. And sometimes I chose the colors and I like it, but you know, as a whole paper, it's kind of would drive me crazy. So let's, if you're using Elements, I have a tutorial. Go back to my beginning with Photoshop Elements tutorial on here, and that will tell you how to get one item on top of another item. Here in CS4, which is what I'm using because this is a new computer and I don't have Elements on here yet, all I have to do is choose my Move tool here, click and hold my mouse, keep holding the mouse, go over to the other tab, because we're using tabs here in CS4, and then go on here and it will automatically add that now on there as a layer. So it works kind of similarly, I guess, to how some of Elements does it, but they always seem to change the way they do it. They either add a new way to do it or they change it up. So anyway, get your paper obviously over onto the other paper. Now I need a text layer to work with, so I have a title. Choose my text tool here and click on that, and this will use your fonts that you have installed on your computer. It's not fonts that are just specific to Photoshop, but whatever's on your computer. So if you like digital fonts out there, and there's so many fabulous fonts to choose from that will work great with digital scrapping, you know, you're going to install them. If you're using Windows here, you're going to make sure you install them into your computer so that you're able to choose it. And then once you've clicked with the type tool, you go in here and choose that down arrow, and that will select, as it says, set the font family here, and we'll let you choose which font you want. I've got one called Crazy Herald. I've got it set for a fairly large point size here. You could just click and swipe over here, which will highlight it here and allow you to change that number if you want. But I'm going to click here on my layout here and just start typing a word here. By the way, you'll see here's where the font color can be changed and not just have any color. The color really isn't going to matter for what we're doing here. But I'm done, so usually there's a little checkbox you can click to commit it. I'm just going to click on a new layer here, and that will also commit this text layer to the word. Now, I want this text layer, however, to be below my paper layer. So the next step is I'm going to click and drag with my mouse, keep holding, and then let go of the mouse right there, and now I have the new paper, the paper I want to quote-unquote cut out the words from, on the top layer. The text layer is in the middle, and then the background paper is still stuck here at the bottom on the background. So what I want to do now is, as I said, I want to make it look like these words, these pretty letters here, are cut out of this paper. I'm going to click once on this paper layer here, and now here you use your keyboard. The keyboard shortcuts for making this clipping group is Control and G if you're using Photoshop Elements in Windows, which would probably be Command and G in a Windows, in a Elements for Mac. Now if you're using Photoshop, which I am, these later versions of Photoshop need an extra key to create the clipping group, and that's Control, Alt, and G here in Windows, which I think would be Command, Option, G in a Mac. now that I've done that, you'll see that we can see the word pretty, and it looks like it's got the paper for it. And you know, I'm going to do one more thing, which is again just showing the flexibility of digital scrapbooking here. Is I'm going to choose my move tool here, and with this paper layer selected, I'm going to click here on one of these corner handles, and I'm holding down the shift and the alt key just so that from each corner it shrinks. And I'm going to make this paper smaller so that the scale of those dots is a lot smaller here. Now I'm going to let go of the alt key here as I'm clicking in. So now, and I have to maybe nudge it over a little bit more. Just, you know, I'm playing with the pulling from a corner. As I say, if you want to keep the constraints of this paper in Elements, you'll find there's a checkbox up there that says constrain proportions, I think, or something to that effect. If that's checked, you don't need to hold the shift key, but in Photoshop here you don't have that option. You want to hold the shift key, otherwise you're skewing your paper and you'll see circles suddenly become ovals and things get weird. So either just make sure you've got that constrained proportions, which again, I hope that I'm saying that correctly, that's what it was. It's something like that. There's a little checkbox up there when you're in this move tool that will keep things from going wacky when you pull from a corner. So I'm happy enough with that. I'll go oops, excuse me. That thing loves to. If you had the little checkbox here, you'd want to apply it here. So that looks a lot better to me. The final thing I would do here is I would add a drop shadow or a bevel here to just make it look like this paper is actually sitting on top of it, not just this very, very flat text file. I'm going to click on here. If you're in Elements, look for the effects palette or something to that. I believe, again, I have another tutorial I think that handles talking about drop shadows, which talked about how to get drop shadows onto a item such as a picture, or in this case the text file. So go hunt down that, and that should help you. But in Photoshop here, all I have to do is double click on this empty portion of the text layer here, and it will bring up my layer styles palette. That's true of any layer. Just double click in that emptier space and you can bring that. So I can just click to get a drop shadow and click to get a bevel, and go in here maybe and adjust my size a bit of these things, and maybe pull that up a smidge, and pull the opacity down a bit. Just, you know, play with it to get what you like. Click OK, and there you go. We're pretty much done. And as I say, the absolute best part, and something that is so much easier than if you were doing this in traditional paper scrapping, is that, as I said, I can change this word. I can double click the T here, the text file, and let's type the word beautiful. And oops, the only thing that went wrong here, and I can correct that in a minute here, is the fact that now this paper, obviously, if you look at the thumbnail, doesn't cover the entire layer. So I would have to go back in here, click on those handles again, and pull it back out, maybe to make it take up a little less space there, and apply that. But that was way easier to do than having to go punch some more letters out of paper or something, perhaps. So I hope that's helped you get started with making a really cool title for your page out of other digital papers, and get you going here on having fabulous scrapbook pages for yourself. I'm CB, and thanks for watching.